Chando, and I'm here as your host and moderator for these sessions. Again, we really look forward to these just because it's a way for us to connect, to educate, to inform, to uplift, and really give you a chance to be one-on-one with somebody who is an expert in their industry and who has knowledge to share. So for the first session of the new year, we have Antonio Valenzuela, who is an insurance professional. And the topic today is really a solid one. It is life and business, how life insurance can protect and fund your business. Do not sleep on the insurance topic. I'm telling you, this can be such a game changer for businesses and individuals. But I do want to tell you a little bit about him before he gets going with the session. He was raised in South Texas, graduated and enlisted in the U.S. Navy, serving for several years in active duty. During this time, he was really stationed all over. He did spend time in Iraq. He had 4 back-to-back deployments. He separated from the military then and began his career in business. I mean, when you talk about his background, I really do think it is impressive. It includes project management, being a liaison between local, state, and federal government entities, also working with general contractors with 13 million plus in construction projects. So we're talking massive, massive undertaking. Now, he has also utilized the strategy of developing long-term relationships and focusing on customer needs to maximize revenue. And he went on to continue his education. In 2018, he graduated from Dallas Baptist University with his bachelor's degree in business studies, and then has continued his education through Cornell University. He uses his experience to consult businesses as well as individuals in his current field of risk management through personal and commercial insurance. So again, the name of the game today is insurance and really finding out the nuances behind it. I will also point out that this is session 1 of 2 with Antonio. Next week, he's going to be talking about workman's compensation. This is one, I mean, even if I was not hosting this, I would be signing up for this because it really is critical. When you need to have the information, you want to have it handy. You want to have already absorbed it and have that knowledge. So without further ado, I am going to step aside and let Antonio take the lead here. Antonio, take it away. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I really enjoyed talking to the audience here today. And this is one thing that's really that I put a focus on not only my life, but just in business owners, because like you said, in my background, my main thing is I want to be able to help people, and the only way I can do that is really get that information to them and help them, because in especially in our Latino culture and everyone else, sometimes we don't get that help by explaining things and how it could benefit us. Not only about, hey, here's this, but here's this about why. Why do we need it? What is the purpose for it? And how can it protect us? So so that's where I am right now. But what I'll go ahead and do is let's start. So let's see here. So I just wanted to welcome everybody. Greatly appreciate this opportunity to be able to be here. And I want to be able to, first of all, thank you for spending your time. I want to make your time very valuable. I know it's very valuable. I want to make the best of it that we can do. So, so let's see here. So just quick intro. I know Jenny introduced me, but my background is I grew up, and when I grew up, it was I grew up in South Texas. So South Texas, Hispanic. Not many people say, "Hey, what good can come from South Texas and whatnot," right? So the thing is that I'm living proof you can be successful. And here's the thing: knowledge is power. So not only is knowledge is power, but also get in touch with people that can help you. Never forget that we are always here. There's always somebody that's going to be able to just ask that question, and they'll give you if you don't know, like if I don't know it, I find a way to find the answers. So it's just a little bit about myself is that I went on into the military. I utilized what was there, my benefits, but at the same time, I got that knowledge so I could help other people. Because if I just keep it to myself, to me and my belief, it's not very good if I just keep it to myself. So I want to pass it on. So real quick is just kind of wanted to get a little census of who are the, how many people are current business owners and how many are purchasing a business, because there might be a little bit of a difference in the conversation we have. So feel free to be able to post your questions in there. That's one thing that uh, a current business owner that's been in business for about 5, 10 years may have a little different question than someone that's just inquiring and trying to prepare. So here's the number one thing: uh, don't be shy. Ask your question because you never know, somebody else might have that question too. So the main purpose why we're here is to learn life insurance. What is it and what can be utilized? Life insurance is one of the most powerful things you can have as a business owner. And one of the main things is, if for those that are trying to get a business loan, I know there are organizations out there like, for example, Lift Fund. Before they approve any type of business loan, they have what's called a collateral assignment attached to it. You have to have a collateral assignment. We'll just kind of dig in a little bit there. Now, there's a couple things on here that we can discuss, but I just put this on there just as a little snapshot of many different variety of ways that life insurance can fortify your business and protect it. The other thing too is, how can it fund it? But I want to touch on two things today: the collateral assignments and the buy-sell agreements. And we can always go do one-on-ones or reach out to me or for more in depth. But today I wanted to do the funding aspect, the life insurance, of the funding and the protecting, and because that's what we want to know. For one, how can it help me, get started and continue my business, and how can it help it protect me? So, as a business owner, for example, uh, just let's just talk about doing applying for that loan. So you apply, go to the bank, you go to whether it's a commercial lender or you go to a private organization that does lending for business owners or anyone that wants to become a business owner. So there's something that's called collateral assignment. Now, this collateral assignment really is a protection for the lender. It's not really a protection for you, it's a protection for the lender. Essentially, look at it this way: you have a home. Now, you bought the home and you have to have home insurance. So the home insurance is a protection for not only for you but also the lender, because if whatever happens, for whatever reason, you decide to sell the home or exit out of the home, that they have to have some kind of protection, that if something happens, that they're going to be able to reconstruct the home and be able to sell it at max value as they possibly can. Well, and collateral assignments is really is, if for whatever reason you are not able to repay that loan, that company is protected and through the life insurance policy to be able to recuperate whatever loan they gave you. So for example, you get, God forbid, because we're living in this world of crazy health, COVID or any type of sickness that essentially makes you incapable of running the business, of essentially just doing any sales or anything like that. So you are now taken out of the equation, and now the business is left on its own to operate. And let's just say you're the main person, you're the business owner, and you're out there selling, you're out there trying to secure those deals, trying to get those clients, and now you're not able to operate. And you go 1 month, 2 month, 3 months of no inflow revenue. Now you're going to have a choice: do I continue the business, or do I have to close my doors? So the lender is protected in that scenario to say, hey, you know what, we can recuperate our money back. So here's the other thing too. It helps you, from when it helps the lender, but it also helps you because now you have been able to, not, your credit and all the other stuff is a factor, but now you're able to borrow based off of your life policy. So the company has a little bit more incentive the lender has a little bit more incentive to lend you that money, to either to whether it's for an equipment loan, and say let's just say you're a current business owner and you're trying to grow your business, and let's just say you're, I don't know if so let's just say you have a landscaping company. You have 5 trucks, 5 teams, and this year you secured a contract with the government, with the city or a college or something. You secured a contract. Now you're gonna have to dedicate team. You have to have a dedicated team. You're gonna have a large. You're gonna have to hire someone else. So this helps you secure the the money you're gonna need to buy the extra truck, buy the extra equipment, and then help you supply that payroll. So it gets you up and running a little bit better, and just a little bit more so you don't have to go to a traditional, kind of eat out of your profits. So there's many different ways how you can utilize it. Now, there are different ways to fund collateral assignments and things like that is through a term, a universal life, and a whole life. Now, don't get too worried about the differences, and it's very simple to really look at it this way. Term, exactly that, it is for a specific amount of time, to where if it's 5 years, 15, 10, 15, up to 30 years, that it will expire and it's only good for that time. Now there's no additional cash value, you can't borrow out of it, but it's really their specific way. Now, a universal life, it's like a hybrid between a term and a whole life. Whole life, you get to have that cash value, you can borrow out of it, and it's they call it permanent insurance. So essentially, it's there till the day you pass away. So, so your universal is it's a hybrid of both. It has many different uses for it, but I would highly recommend if you want to have a little bit more in depth, we can go always discuss more on that and kind of see what's best for you. My thing here today is I just want to get you the education and be able to see what we can do. Now, the protecting on the buy sell agreements, the protecting helps you on the buy sell agreements, but also help you exit planning. Exit planning, many business owners that I talk to, their main priorities are getting the business started and operating it, growing it, making those extra sales, making the extra contract, getting out there and getting in front of people and getting those secure and be more profitable. Not many people and business owners focus on exit planning. And that is a very critical part because it protects you, the business, and essentially it really helps you understand um, understand the whole concept of being a business owner, not just in the operation standpoint. And in the business owner retirement, it can be utilized that way. It can be doing estate planning, survivor income. There's many different ways of how you can, help utilizing this way protecting your business. There's also something on there I didn't really put on there. It's like executive bonuses. It has a lot of different ways. And the number one thing about life insurance, it is protected under law to be tax free. And the reason why it's tax free is because uh, it's really that is an insurance, but it can be utilized many different functions. It really depends on you where you at in your journey as a business owner and where you at and how does it need to be utilized. So we kind of already touched a little bit about collateral assignments. One major thing to look at is whenever you're in front of a lender, the question will be you should ask is how do I secure this loan? And one of the main reasons being is because sometimes you'll go through the whole process and then it's like, oh, you know what? I'm uninsurable. And unfortunately, a lot of us Latinos are uninsurable based off our eating habits or things like that, or his medical history. And that is something that we in the company I'm with that we can help people based off uninsurability is guaranteed. There are type of things that are called guaranteed insured insurance, but there's many different ways to be able to. It's a strategy. Keep this in mind. The main thing about life insurance, it is a strategy. Don't think that life insurance is everything. You can have it as a portion of your strategy, and that's the number one thing that I talk about with my clients is I want to see what do they have as a strategy, because you have a strategy to sell, you have a strategy to grow your business, you should also have a strategy to protect your business. So keep that in mind, and it's really about being full circle and be balanced. So let's see here. The touch a little bit about the types of policies. Now, many people out there, you can get on YouTube and you're going to hear every single different opinion about life insurance. Now, here's the one thing to think about every time you look at that video is, what is the person's goal? Where are they coming from? And can you make a blanket statement for all businesses? In my opinion, no. I cannot treat a business owner in the field of medical, in the medical field, the same way as I treat a business owner in food, because there are two different industries. The liabilities are different. The culture, the for one, the laws are different. I have a background in the food industry as well, and there's a lot of things that you have to do that's regulated by the FDA and the USDA. If you're going to sell something that's going to be consumed by somebody, you better have a lot of protection, because here's one thing I'm going to tell you and how it's so critical. Bluebell. Bluebell is a very, very prime example. Bluebell has been in business for over 100 years. The first instance they had it a couple years ago with one contamination of listeria nearly bankrupt them. And a lot of it had to do with processes and things like that. But imagine the liability that they had to pay out. Now, you as a small business owner, let's just say you're in a restaurant. You open up a restaurant business and you're selling food. Now, it may not be FDA certified and FDA and USDA, but you are going to be accountable to the health department, the local health department. They are going to do inspections on you, and they are going to be able to see, okay, you know what? If you're putting something in someone's food, like you're making your secret sauce, right? So the thing is that, how do you protect that? And we're going to talk about more. And here's the thing: is that God forbid you have to face the day you have a lawsuit. Now, if someone, because in the United States, a lot of people are sue happy. So how do you protect your business? How do you get that? If for whatever reason you have there's they tell you then you're liable for $1 million. Now you have to have business insurance. But what if about you as a business owner? Where are you going to get that extra capital if you only have 500,000 in the bank? So this is a way that you can utilize life insurance to be able to take out if you need to, depending on how the structure, depending on how much cash value you have in there, to be able to say, you know what, I can protect my business and continue to grow. This is an extra way. So here's the one thing I'm going to tell you is there is essentially there's really no limit how many policies you can have on yourself, on the business, your business owners. But there's a couple different ways I want to be able to talk about this. Um, Exit planning. I want to transition into exit planning. So, for example, you're a business owner and you go in partnership. Let's just say you have the expertise in field A, and business partner B is the one that's essentially putting the capital. Or yeah, let's do it this way. So you have the expertise. So that's how valuable you are to the company. You're an expert in this field, and then partner B is putting the capital. and they want to be a silent partner or whatever, but you maintain and operate it. So let's just say partner B goes, the business successful, 5 years down the road goes by, it's all great. 10 years down the road goes by, partner B wants to retire early. So you know what? Or partner B says, you know what? I have a family emergency and majority of my family lives in a different state. I have to go to that other state. I can't be here to help you operate the business. So what they want to do is say, you know what? How about I sell you my portion? So if they say, I want to sell you my portion, hopefully you have already talked to a CPA, an estate attorney, a business attorney to be able to see what the valuation is of that company. What is the value for the total company? And what is the value for your portion that you put in? And what's the value for their portion? Because what if they say, I don't want to leave, but I'm going to leave my cousin over here. He's a great person. Now I'm going to give him power of attorney. He's going to be my portion and my voice in the company here. Did you go in a partnership with that person's cousin? No. Essentially, business is a marriage. You have to think about it that way. You're there, you're locked in, and you're dedicated to each other for the growth of that company. But cousin A over here doesn't know what he's talking about. And now he wants to say, oh, I want this, I want that, and I want this to happen, I want that to happen. So it's like, how do you get how do you buy out the other person? Or how does that person retire? So whatever the situation is, you have to have a plan, not just to plan to say, because most lenders, almost everyone is going to ask you for a business plan. You want a loan? All right, here's your business plan. This is how we're going to grow. This is how I'm going to become profitable. This is how I'm going to go in and do my marketing and things like that. Why not have something in the same thing? Here's my exit strategy. God forbid we have to, things change. Here's the way I'm going to exit. Is there a predetermined value, a contractual value? Because at the end of the day, you want that business, you want it to be profitable, and you want it to be as protected as possible. So the reason why I really focus on exit planning is because I've noticed a lot of business owners, they don't focus on exit planning. That is one area in business or in operations really is that it's not really touched or is very, oh, okay, I'll worry about it later. Nothing's going to happen. It's okay. Don't worry about it. If you don't touch about it and you don't review it every year or anything like that, it's going to hurt the fact that you have to talk about it because now you don't know what's faced and you don't know how to prepare. There's a thing when, like I said, I'm a military veteran. We have a phrase: two is one is none. If I have two, let's just say I got two radios to help call for support, and one gets damaged, at least I have one that's backed up. If I only had one and that one gets damaged, I have no way to call for help. So the thing is that that's something to be able to think about, focus on, and be prepared in that. Estate planning goes in and coupled together with a business retirement, owner retirement. So that is something we can always look at. It's about maximizing your time and essentially equalizing. If you want to retire, how do you distribute that? So how do you distribute that to your heirs? Now, I really wanted to touch back about just a little bit, circle back around with the buy-sell agreement. This is one thing too, I really, really highly encourage everyone. If you don't have a CPA, find one. Find not just anyone, find one that is reputable, find one that has experience, and find one that knows about your industry. Because not every CPA is is a CPA that can help you specifically in your industry. Because when it comes down to valuation of your business, you can either be deadlocked and there's going to be a battle between it, or you're going to be fine and you're going to be protected and you don't have to worry about it. And it's fine. You can live in peace that said, look, everything's taken care of. If I need to retire, I'm okay to retire. I'm not going to have a huge thing going to a battle with my partner. The last thing we need is God forbid, you get in an argument with or disagreement with your partner, and then that enjoyment and that purpose that you followed, you wanted to go in business, now not no longer becomes enjoyable. That's what the goal should be. Have fun, do what you want to do in your business and enjoy your life. And because you started that business for a reason, now enjoy it. So I do wanted to do touch on that because uh three people you should really should depend on is really your state attorney, your CPA, and of course your insurance. Think about it, right? So the other thing too is I wanted to touch on something called key person insurance. Now this is really identifies for who qualifies for it, and I'm going to touch a little bit on it. What is it, and really who is it for? It's really for your executive team, or one of the main things right here is lead sales personnel. Lead sales personnel, someone that has a product development, or engineers, or here's another thing right here, difficult to replace personnel. Someone that that if they leave your business, it's gonna hurt. Because the one thing that everyone wants to do is feel valued. Not only do they want to recognize that they feel valued, but they also want to know that they're protected. If you lose that person, going back to, um, let's just say you're in landscaping, you own 10, you're growing, now you own 10 well, you have 10 trucks, trailers, you have a lot of people there, and you don't necessarily run the day-to-day operations. You hire an office manager, you hire a operations manager. Now those people are critical to your daily operations, and they're critical to say, hey, you know what, am I going to have a team show up to make sure these contracts stay alive? So clients get needy sometimes. So the thing is that you got to make sure that you take care of these people well. One of the things about key personnel is it protects you and it protects the person. So think about it as you can use it in two different ways. If the person gets sick, if the person says, you know what, I've been here for 5 years, I've grown the business, I think I can go on to option B when I just got offered a 30% more pay raise. Because the average person now, I hate to say this, but the average person now stays right around 2.5 to 3 years at that business. So they're going to probably move on. Now, someone in this level, they might stay a little longer, but think of how expensive it is going to be able to replace that person. How long it is going to be to find someone that has that experience, and for one that's going to be able to uh, keep that business operational and profitable. So the other thing too is say, okay, what can I do for them? So I have, let's just say, I have let's see, put it this way. I have a manager. Now he becomes my operations guy. I have 10 teams. I want this guy to stay because I can't afford to lose him. So since I can't afford to lose him, how am I going to be able to keep him? What I can do is to do two things. It can be coupled with the executive bonus. I can I can offer to him, say, look, if you stay here with me for another 5 to 10 years, I'll have this policy. And usually it's a whole life policy because it has that cash value, it's that incentive. The company will pay for the life policy. And you make that agreement, talk to your attorney, put it in a contract. So if he stays for 10 years, 5 years, whatever you make that agreement with that person, say, you know what? I'm going to be able to keep you here. So you have, as the business owner, security. My guy cannot leave. And if he does leave, he's going to lose this benefit. So what he has is that cash value. This business, pay for the policy. After that specific amount of time, he can now take the policy and he can borrow out of it. Think about it. For so many years, he didn't do anything. That cash value started growing. He didn't pay for anything. All he did was just show up to work and do the best he can do, make that business profitable. So it's incentivized for him. And say, hey, if you leave before this time, with the exception of caveats or whatever your agreement is, he forfeits that. So if he forfeits it, then he can't have it. So it's a way you can ensure that you have that person there can kind of help you solidify. And the other thing too, on the key person side, it helps you on the cost of replacement. Let's just say that now that term came, he has that executive bonus. You have one policy for the executive bonus. You have another policy for key person. Key person helps the business because the business is the beneficiary, and you can now utilize that cash value to be able to pay. If you need to hire somebody else, to say, oh, you know what, that other person you hired to replace them says, I need X amount of money, or I need you to pay my relocation costs. You could take that cash value and you can utilize that. So there's many different ways. Strategy. It's about strategy. It is not about just, oh, you know what, it's insurance. No, it's how do I utilize it and how do I protect it? It's all about strategy. So the going back to the executive bonus, it helps you recruit people. Going back to, because you can do another one for the person you hire, recruitment, reward. You can say, you know what, after you do it for 5 years or 15 years. Say every 5 years, I'll give you cash bonus. Take it out of there as a loan or whichever way you want to do it. So you can reward them. It helps you retain the person by using that as a benefit. Say, hey, if you lose, well, not if you lose, if you leave here, you forfeit it. So it helps them retain. And in the support, the reason why I put this a little hard here is because, like I said, people want to know they're valued. If they know that my employer is here because I helped to be here, and they know that I'm critical to the operations, they feel valued, and they will stay longer than your average person that's going to say, you know what, I'm here, and every single time they get an offer, they're going to jump ship. You know it costs to replace that person. So helps you have a better stability in your business and helps you be able to utilize that. So I know it's a little bit sooner than I expected, but I really wanted to give you guys my contact information. Um, and here's the reason being. I know we have a large uh, demographic, who's here, age range, as well as experience level, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get in touch with me because for whatever reason, if you don't have the ability to or want to put your question in the chat, and if you feel like you want your question is going to be a little bit more takes a little bit more time, I am more than willing to be able to give you that one-on-one and to be able to help you and answer as many questions as I can. Now, I am here in the state of Texas. If you are at a different state, I can help you. If I'm not able to help you in that way, I can get you in touch with someone that I know and that can help you. So don't feel discouraged because, oh, he's in Texas, I'm over here Georgia, I'm in Tennessee, I'm in Florida, whatever it is. I have a vast network that I work with, and trust me, we can figure out a way to help you. And that's the thing too. Think about it. Set it national. We are here. We are national, and we are not here just for XYZ here in this one location. We want to help you grow. I want to help you grow, and I'll do everything I can possible for that. So I know that it is a lot of time ahead of time, but I wanted to just to open up the opportunity to be able to see, and just in case we do have those specific questions, might take a little bit more of a little standpoint. Hopefully, we're okay with that. So.
No, Antonio, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your passion. Listen, he's been doing back-to-back webinars. He is in high demand, you guys. So we are very lucky to have him here, and I'm glad that we do have the time just to go over and ask some questions. So if anything cropped up while you were listening, do not hesitate to post it in the chat. But I've got a lot of my own questions that I've been jotting down as you've been speaking. And so, we're going to look at this as sort of, like you said, sort of from a very early entry point perspective here. When somebody's just starting a business, if it is just, like, let's say it's just them, do they need to have insurance for that?
Absolutely. And to be honest, I really think it's almost more critical because you are the only one there. Let's just say it doesn't have to be a sickness or anything like that. Let's just say you want to be able to have an opportunity to spend time with your family, because here's the number one thing. I truly believe life, family, balance. So you have to have that balance, but also it gives you the security to understand, to be like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay because if something happens to me, my family doesn't have to go into a whirlwind and trying to figure out how do we repay this loan? How do we do this? And how do we do that? How do we protect it? So yes, it is very critical.
Yeah, and do you get that before you even is the step for getting the insurance like the day that get your first checking account for your business, or where in the process of opening the
Uh,
business should you be getting insurance?
I really believe you should start looking at it and talking to someone prior to opening up the day, for day one, before day one. And one of the reasons why, going back to even get a loan to be to open up your doors, you're going to have, depending on your industry, you're going to be able to need that to just to get started. The other thing too is certain contracts are going to require proof of insurance. So if you want to get let's just say you're in sales and you do products. So you haven't sold one thing yet, but you start up that day. Now, where are you at? You need to make sure that you have that prepared, and you don't have to worry about it, because the last thing you want to do is have all those sales start coming in, and then you're like, man, I'm rolling, and it's like, wait a minute, I should have done this. And you don't have to worry about that. Now you can grow. It's growth, growth, growth. So yes.
That's great because I think it's kind of something. There's so many things when you start a business, right? There's so many things to do. So it's like, okay, but that's got to be in the mix, right? That has to be in the mix. And when they're looking at that insurance, and I know this is some of what you already kind of went over, but just to emphasize, when they're looking for that insurance, when they very first start off, what type are they looking for, or does it depend?
Well, it really depends on your business, but going back to like the buy sell agreement. So if let's just say you're an attorney, you have a degree, you're an attorney. To sell your business, you cannot just sell to anyone. You have to sell to an attorney, and you have to sell to someone that, think about it. Let's just say you're in bankruptcy, or you're in criminal defense or something like that. You sell your book of business. You have to be able to sell to someone that's going to be able to offer your clients that service. Now, going back to going back to the type is it, I really believe you should have be balanced. You should have a little bit of everything because in your own personal protection, there is you know, let's just say you have a home, you buy your home, and today's, let's just say you bought it 10 years ago and it was $150,000. Now the market, you could sell it for 100, well, about 400,000. I'm just throwing round numbers, right? Well, the value is different. Today's market is different. So you want to make sure that you talk to someone that says, you know what is your market today? What you have today may not be the same needs that you have 5 years from now. So always review it.
That's great. So always just be checking and making sure, okay, am I still covered by the right plan, that sort of thing. Let's transition to talk about red flags. And I think a lot of people too, when they're new at something, maybe their parents were in business, or the first person to kind of delve into this, you're kind of wary of scams and wondering, am I just being taken? Are there any sort of red flags when it comes to looking for insurance coverage for a business?
Absolutely. Um, one of the main red flags that I would put is we always say, is it too good to be true? So, yeah, because is it too good to be true? And this is one thing I've heard in a while back. A lot of people always say it's always greener on the other side. Well, think about this. Weeds grow year round, depending on where you live. So some weeds are also green. So so be cautious. Go with someone that and that's reputable. Look at them. Look at the reviews. A lot of people use Facebook. A lot of people use YouTube. They use TikTok. There's a lot of different other things. Look at them. See if they're where they are. Who are they with? Call the company. Call, and if someone just says, "Hey, you know what? I'm here. Blah blah. Can I help you? Whatever." Right? Hey, what's a good number to reach you? Can I call you? Can do your due diligence and say, okay, you know what? Do you have any referrals? Who have you spoken to? How, things like that. The other thing too is I would really highly recommend looking at it this way. We have a saying in Spanish, of course, we were talking about it before, is el barato sale caro. The cheap comes out expensive. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. It doesn't mean you have the best plan. Sometimes you have to, in order to protect yourself properly, it may cost a little bit more, but that's because you are protected. And here's one thing I'll tell you for myself. In my home, back in that, I don't know how many people experienced that big, freeze in 2021. I had a huge freeze. I had a pipe that busted in my home back in 2021, and I had a big freeze. I paid a little bit more on my premium, but I had 100% of everything recovered. My replacement cost. Think about it. So now think about this. A lot of business policies on insurance, they will help you on your flow of revenue. This is a little different than the life policy. This is the business policy. It will help you recuperate some of that cost you lost, or some of that revenue you lost. So just because it's cheap and affordable today, it may not be the best policy for you in your industry and where you are today in your travels or in your journey. So
Okay.
long answer.
Well, no, I think that's good because I think it's just like, well, what do we look for? And you've got to just, I guess, educate yourself. I guess that's why it's good to be, kudos to everybody who's here at the session today, because then they are sort of shoring themselves up with some knowledge to not be experiencing, a red flag, or be, spending too much or getting too little insurance, that sort of thing. When you talked about, I want to go back to that topic that you were focusing on, which is that key person benefit. Is that what it was called? Key person benefit?
Yeah. Well, there's many different ways. Kiss key person, but there are many different companies call it different. But it's key person.
Well, when you said that, I thought, I want to be a key person at my company. I don't know that I am, but perhaps that should be a goal of mine, to be, be the key person who's not even replaceable at all. But how big does a company need to be in order to start getting that type of insurance?
You, one person. You can have key person on yourself. And so, and here's the reason being because think about it this way. Let's just say, yeah, I decide to go be in business for myself and something happens. But I can also give myself a bonus at the end of the year. Think about that. It's tax free. Say, you know what? It helps me as a business owner focus on my business. So instead of me getting, instead of getting tunnel vision or getting like, oh, here's another investment I can do. Here's another thing I can do. Here's something else I can do. Help me rein in my goals, keep me accountable to my business, and keep me accountable to my family because they're depending on me and my business. So say, hey, you know what? What if at the end of the year, I give myself, little bonus here, but you got to make sure it's within your tax. Talk to your CPA, talk to your, estate attorney. So make sure you're not breaking any type of tax violations or anything like that. But it can be useful. So you don't have to have 10 people. You can have one on yourself. So
And it's fun. You said that during the presentation, but I thought surely I'm misunderstanding him. Um, so it is, you can just do it for yourself, or
yes, yes, and here's the other thing too. There's a lot of people. Let's just say beauticians. Now, a lot of beauticians, they go and they don't have the money to open up a big salon. So what they'll do is they'll get in contract with someone. They'll rent out a chair. They'll do something like that at a beauty salon, and you're a key person on your business. You have a book of business. Your book of business, just because it's not like you have a big old something like that, but you have clients. So you can sell your book of business to another beautician. You can always do that. But to have the key person on there, say it helps you be accountable, helps you grow. And here's the other thing too. Who's to say that, you, I'm not saying embellish, but talk to someone, say, hey, you know what? I got a key person in my business. I know that person is a rock star. You're talking about yourself. So, so think about it. It helps you be able to also secure a contract because yeah, you're true. Think there's a lot of independent people. Think about it this way. Uber drivers. Uber drivers, that's a business. And we also can insure Uber drivers in my organization. So it's the same thing. It's like, you know what? People make money off of that. Who's the key person? The person driving. So there's many different ways to look at it.
yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. It's opening up my eyes to the ways that you would work through this. Now, when somebody is getting set with their insurance, how would they know? How do they know what they need?
And that's something very true. And here's one thing: when I was in sales, with the food industry, I I always did this because I had people also come to me try to buy try to buy supplies for them. So it's like packaging and things like that. I got three quotes: A, B, and C. So the person I approached, different company, gave me one quote, second and third. Somewhere in the middle should be where you have it. Someone is going to give you the truth. One of those three are probably going to be like, yeah, yeah, you know what, let's do it, let's do it, and then boom, and just want to get the next person in. The other person will be like, you know what, I want to take care of you, and I'd rather give you that opportunity to be able to discuss this policy, explain it, and have you as a client for long term. I'm not here just to give you that next sale and just rotate someone out because that's not, you want to stay clear of those people. And the only way to be able to figure that out is, like I said, do your due diligence, look them up, and ask other people. So if they're always on social media, they're always posting something on social media. Look in the comments. See on there, oh, you know what? They were a great person. I talked to them or something like that. Or you know what? I highly recommend them. Or if you know someone. chances you are, if you are going to be in business, you know someone else that's in business. So talk to them and say, hey, you know what? Who do you use for your insurance? How have they been for you? Do they contact you every year on when there's renewals, or do they stay in touch with you and say, hey, you know what? There's something going on. You know, you're growing. Let's have a 6 month evaluation. Let's do something quarterly, something like that. And so keep that in
Okay,
mind.
so you should be hearing from them.
Most, yes, and here's the reason being, because think of it like this: it's not just about the commission. Some people are like commission, 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 but me personally, I'd rather deal with the client and take care of them well because I grow, my client grows, my client grows, I grow, and if I could think about it, I live and breathe off of referrals. If I get someone that just says Antonio was just horrible, I didn't have a great experience with him, what's that going to do for me? I much rather have a good name and have someone said, that's the person you need to go to. Yes, you know, I'm not going to turn down business if I can, but at the same time, I much rather have someone say, I'd rather do business with Antonio. I may be locked in right now with my thing, but I'm gonna go get a second opinion, see what he says. And the same thing with whoever you're at. If you're in a different state, by all means, talk to your other friends, talk to other people that have businesses, and ask them. Because here's the other thing too: they may not have the same type of policy because they're different industry, but you may have a commonality with that person, and you never know because you don't want it to, there's certain things we don't ever talk about with our families, really. Money is one of the main things. We don't want people to know how much we have. So because we don't want them asking, right? But the other thing too is like, we insurance is not really a very a very good topic to always talk about. Who wants to sit about in Thanksgiving and Christmas? Hey, I got someone you need to talk to, right? So it's really about the personality. It's really about getting that person and do your due diligence as a business owner.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense that it's just like you have to take the time. Now, often is can you the person that like you already have insurance yourself would be prior to becoming a business owner? Is it common that those same agencies or groups or companies could also do your insurance for your business, or is that typically more separate?
So yes, now because many property casualty um, also do business, you really should talk to your agent because sometimes they'll just do home and life. Well, not home life, but home and auto, and they'll specialize that. They're just trying to focus on that industry. But that's the reason why I say every big player out there, every big name insurance will do business insurance. Now, keep in mind, there's always companies entering the business insurance industry, and don't be fooled on, hey, I can do this, but remember, it's about your risk. So, think about this. Do I want to go what's affordable today, or do I want to be able to protect myself? So ask your insurance agent. If you don't already have one, reach out to someone. I'm always willing here and give you a second opinion. And I'll tell you straight out, I can't do this because my risk tolerance or whatever it is, but I'll find you someone else that can. So like I said, I'm not here to chase the dollar. I'm here to help you. And as I help you, that's something that my business grows, but I want to make sure that people do have that opportunity to be able to protect their personality, their personal, as well as their commercial. But yes, long circling around, most insurance companies can do both.
Okay, that's great, but you just have to ask and find out and make sure it's going to be a match because it really is a relationship. It's not just, I think there's a misconception that it's like it's a one-time buy, you talk to this person once and then move on. That's a misconception, isn't it?
Especially because think about it, your idea is to not to stay the same. You want to grow. year to year, you want to grow. You have that growth. Why even be in business if you're not going to intend to grow? So the thing is that if your needs are growing, so you have to hire more people, you got to have more equipment, got to do another office space. Shouldn't you go back and think, hey, you know what? My insurance needs are going to be different too. So
I think that's a really, really good point. We're about to wrap up. Antonio, the time flew by. This was really, really helpful. I know that next week you're going to be talking about workman's compensation, right?
yes, yes, I am very, very excited about workman's comp because it's about it's about discovering those things that we don't pay attention to that may be a pitfalls. And like I said, get ahead of it before you can.
So that's going to be really helpful. And then also, you guys, really, really helpful. The crew from Sarah National Events posted in the chat with Antonio's email address, his phone number, his extension. So again, even if you're not in Texas, he may be able to help you himself or with a colleague or, figure something out. So don't be shy. That's what these events are for. I mean, truly, these people that come on to speak are pouring into all of us, teaching us quite a bit. So his email address is on there if you want to copy it. And then also, I want to remind you that the replay of this will be up by next Wednesday. So if you have a friend, a colleague, a family member, someone who might find this valuable, it will be on Sarah National's YouTube channel, which was just posted in the chat as well. So what you'll want to do is click on that, and then you can subscribe. And then, I mean, if you just discovered these webinars, I'm telling you, go back and listen to the other events. You can, I mean, sometimes I'll listen to these when I'm getting ready in the morning or, almost like cooking dinner at night. Even if you're just listening to the audio and absorbing the information, it really is quite helpful. They are provided to all of us, which I am forever grateful for. So that is there. And then we'll be able to get part 2 with Antonio on next Thursday. One more thing before we go. Save the date. Don't say I didn't warn you. I don't want to get to May and have you say, well, Jenny, you never mentioned this, because May 10th is Sarah National's 59th annual conference. The focus area is creating gateways to economic equity. It is going to be at the Hilton Dallas Plano Granite Park. I've actually done events at that exact location. It's a beautiful space, and we will all be there. So save the date for that. Antonio, thank you again so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for this opportunity, Jenny. You're great. So I definitely love the organization, and just want to be here as an opportunity.
Right back at you, Antonio. And thank you so much to everybody. We will see you next Thursday, same time, same place. Bye-bye.